Part 11. Return to reality. After escaping the abandoned house, Marwa and Sarah tried to resume their normal lives, but the memories clung to them like shadows. Marwa, now plagued by daily nightmares, began noticing strange occurrences in her apartment. Mirrors reflecting movements she hadn't made, and faint whispers echoing through the night. Sarah, on the other hand, became obsessed with reviewing the photos she had taken in the house, trying to decode the symbols she had seen on the altar. One day, Marwa received a text message from an unknown number. Attached was a photo of Layla standing in front of a bleeding mirror. Her eyes were pitch black, as if she were no longer the Layla they knew. The message carried a single sentence: "The house is waiting for you." Marwa, who had been trying to ignore the past, felt she could no longer run. She and Sarah decided to return to the village to uncover the fate of their friends. Part 12. The Silent Village. When they arrived at the Black Valley, they noticed the village was even more ruined than before. Houses were sealed shut, and the streets were eerily empty. Even the old woman who had warned them during their first visit was gone. The abandoned house still stood, but it looked darker, as if it had absorbed all the surrounding light. The windows were covered with black curtains, yet Marwa felt something was watching her from behind them. Inside, everything had changed. The rooms they had explored before were now larger, and the hallways seemed to shift positions. In one room, they found Layla's bag, containing a digital camera. When they turned it on, they found a video clip of Layla screaming, "Don't come back! It knows your names now!" Part 13. Shadows of Friends. As they wandered through the house, they began hearing the voices of their friends, Ahmed and Yusuf, calling to them from afar. But the voices were distorted, as if coming from another realm. In one room, they discovered a new mirror they hadn't seen before. When they looked into it, they saw Ahmed and Yusuf standing behind them, but their reflections didn't appear in the glass. They turned quickly, but no one was there. Marwa, still carrying the old notebook, noticed a new passage she hadn't seen before. It stated that the Watcher could not be defeated unless the key of light was found, something hidden in the heart of the house. But it also warned that searching for the key would fully awaken the Watcher. Part 14. Maze of Darkness. Despite their fear, Marwa and Sarah decided to search for the key of light. The corridors led them to an underground maze they hadn't discovered before. The walls were covered in glowing eye symbols, and as they moved deeper, the walls seemed to close in on them. They heard footsteps behind them, but when they looked, no one was there. In one room, they found an old chest sealed with a strange-shaped lock. Beside it was a small statue resembling the one they had seen on the altar. When Sarah touched it, the room began to shake, and long shadows emerged on the walls, moving, reaching for them. In a panic, they fled the room, only to realize the maze had shifted. The way back was gone. Part 15. Facing the Watcher. Deep within the maze, they entered a circular room with a massive mirror in its center. The mirror didn't show their reflections, but rather scenes from their lives, childhood memories, moments of fear, and secrets they'd never confessed. Suddenly, the Watcher appeared in the mirror, this time with a face. It was Layla's face. "She's part of me now," said the voice from the mirror. "But you can join her." Marwa tried to break the mirror, but instead felt a cold hand gripping her arm from within the glass. Sarah, desperately searching for a way out, found an inscription on the wall. The key of light was a pure heart that must be sacrificed. Part 16. The Second Sacrifice. Haunted by guilt for not saving Layla before, Sarah decided to be the sacrifice. She told Marwa she had to finish the mission alone. Before Marwa could stop her, Sarah stepped toward the mirror and placed her hand on it. In an instant, she vanished, and a soft glow emerged from inside the glass. The Watcher screamed. Sarah's sacrifice had weakened him. Through her tears, Marwa found a small glowing key on the floor where Sarah had stood. She knew it was the key of light. With renewed resolve, she returned to the chest in the previous room and used the key to unlock it. Inside, she found an ancient book written in a strange language. Within its pages was a spell to seal the Watcher's gate forever.
Part 17. The Final Incantation. Marwa began reciting the incantation with a trembling voice. With each word, a strange power filled the room. The walls began to bleed, and every mirror cracked and groaned as if under pressure. The Watcher reappeared, this time in his true form, a faceless, towering being, covered in eyes that bled black. He tried to stop her, but Marwa kept reading, drawing strength from the memories of her friends. At the final word, she threw the book into the mirror, causing a blinding explosion of light. When she opened her eyes, she found herself outside the house. For the first time, sunlight bathed the village. Part 18. The Escape. Marwa ran far from the house, only to realize the entire village had vanished, as if it had never existed. When she returned to the city, she searched for any trace of the Black Valley, but found nothing. Even their blog, which had documented the entire trip, had disappeared from the internet. Deep down, she knew the Watcher wasn't truly defeated. She could still hear his whispers at night, and every time she passed a mirror, she feared looking into it. She decided to start a new life, far from anything that reminded her of the house. Part 19. The Unexpected Return. Years later, Marwa had become a successful author, writing fictionalized accounts of her experiences. One day, she received an invitation from a university to give a lecture on exploring abandoned places. During the talk, a young student approached her, holding an old photo of the abandoned house. He said he had found it in an antique bookstore and that a new group of students planned to visit the site. Marwa warned them, but they laughed, just as she and her friends once did. Panicked, she decided to go with them to prevent them from making the same mistake. When they arrived, they found the house standing, as if it had never collapsed. Part 20. The Circle Completes. Inside the house, Marwa faced her old nightmare. The mirrors were back, along with the symbols and the altar. The students began acting strangely, just as her friends had years ago. But this time, Marwa was ready. Using the spell she had memorized from the book, she stood before the main mirror and confronted the Watcher. In a final, decisive moment, Marwa destroyed the main mirror using the glowing key she had kept all these years. The house collapsed again, but this time she felt the curse had truly ended. When she emerged, the students were dazed but safe. That night, back in her home, Marwa found a new mirror in her bedroom, one she didn't remember owning. When she looked into it, she saw her reflection, and behind her, a single eye glowing in the darkness.